Greats Sneakers. Greats is the first men's sneaker brand from Brooklyn, born in Brooklyn. At Greats.com, they never sacrifice quality, use premium materials. Style, quality, value is what they offer. Greats.com. Go to www.greats.com for 15% off. 15% off. Punch in the code Rapaport. R-A-P-A-P-O-R-T. Greats.com. All right. Okay. I was forced into this. I didn't plan on doing this. I didn't plan on doing an emergency podcast. I'm a UFC fan, and I stayed up on the East Coast till 1:30 to watch Ronda Rousey win in 34 thrilling seconds. And then I tweeted out some shit, and out of all the shit that I've talked about Tom Brady, Rachel Dolezal, LeBron James, and many others, including my own Knicks. I am probably the biggest shit talker of my favorite team in professional sports. I criticize them when needed, when I see fit. Not that they need to be criticized by me, but I feel like I comment fairly across the board. Even Tom Brady. I fucking rooted for him in the Super Bowl. So Ronda Rousey, here's my thing with Ronda Rousey. I have followed her career, her story from day one. I've watched probably all of her fights. I watched when she was on Strike Force. I saw her first debut on UFC in like 2012, 2013. I've watched all her fights since then on UFC. I don't think I've missed more than one. I am a fan. I'm a fan of her as an athlete. I'm a fan of her as a role model for women. I'm a fan of her as a role model for women athletes. I am 150% supportive that she is doing something that's never been done. I have tremendous amount of respect for the discipline, dedication, the vision that she had. She pretty much created and had the vision to create what she's done, to make females fighting in the UFC something that is talked about, something that is a plausible money-making thing. I get the whole thing. I know about her homelessness. I know the whole story. I followed her. I'm a fan. I am a fan of Ronda Rousey. Okay, I have tremendous amount of respect for her dedication to judo. Trust me, I'm not a dummy. Jiu-jitsu, I know her whole deal. Okay? To be an Olympic athlete, I know you didn't just snap your fingers and you're now all of a sudden you're fighting MMA. I know about her mom. I've seen all the stories on ESPN, all the stories on HBO. I've read the Sports Illustrated. I've read the ESPN magazine articles. I've read it all. I'm a big fan. I respect the shit out of Ronda Rousey. Got it? I respect the shit out of Ronda Rousey. The problem that I am having with UFC or MMA, female fighting, is many, and I'm going to get into them, and it's going to be disorganized. But this is an emergency all Ronda Rousey podcast. Here, I'm going to just rattle off some things. If Ronda Rousey retired, as she's mentioned she might retire, female MMA will disappear. It will go on the free part of the pay-per-view. You will never have a headliner be on UFC. And that, yes, you say, well, because she's so dominant. No. Her dominance is equivalent to Bill Russell's dominance in the NBA. He won 9 championships in a row. It'll never happen again. Of course it'll never fucking happen again. I've spoken out about Bill Russell. I'm not discrediting what he's done. I'm very familiar with what he did off the court. The social political and racial impact of Bill Russell and all he stood for. But that doesn't mean I have to sit here and say because he won 9 championships playing against a non-fully integrated NBA league that I have to say he's the best champion. No other person will even come close to winning 9 championships in the NBA because it's now 500 times more competitive. Okay? So, does that discredit that Bill Russell wasn't a great champion, that Bill Russell didn't push the envelope of what a center can do and be athletic? No. But do I think that Dennis Rodman would have been Bill Russell? Yes. Do I think that John Sally would have been Bill Russell? Yes. Do I think that Brian Scalabrine was a better player than Bill Russell? Yes. You're like, what the fuck? Yes. Brian Scalabrine, 6'9". Brian Scalabrine, and I love you, Brian Scalabrine, would have dominated basketball in the 1960s. Him and Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain would have been the 3 best players in the NBA at the time. Okay? Dennis Rodman is far more athletic, faster, jumped higher, had a better motor. Just the evolution of man, the evolution of the game. Dennis Rodman would have been the greatest player to ever. Dennis Rodman would have led the fucking Boston Celtics to 15 straight championships if he played during the 1960s, during the Bill Russell era. Okay? Jim Brown, arguably the greatest running back of all time. He's playing against fucking my cousin. I mean, he was ahead of his time. Does that mean he wasn't great? No. Doesn't mean he's not one of the greats? No. Ronda Rousey is fighting in against women who have been fighting professionally for 3 years. Ronda Rousey herself hasn't been fighting. The sport is so new. So to people to go on and on, she's the greatest ever. Of course she's the greatest mixed martial artist in the female division ever. The sport was created 2 weeks ago. Mixed martial arts was created 2 weeks ago for females. It's that fucking old. So for me to be unimpressed, for me to not think that Ronda Rousey, her fights shouldn't be the headline on a pay-per-view is not crazy. Well, like, why'd you pay for it? Because I want to watch it. Does that mean I have to like it? At a certain point, I stopped enjoying watching Mike Tyson beat the shit out of people in 94 seconds. It was a joke. Does that mean Mike Tyson is the greatest ever? No. They've been saying she dominates like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is one of my favorite athletes of all time. I love Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's not even in my top 5 greatest boxers of all time. I put Ali, I put Joe Frazier ahead of him in no particular order. Ali's the greatest of all time. Jack Johnson, Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis, Larry Holmes, right there. Okay? Mike Tyson was great for a short period of time. Yes, he got derailed by himself. We all know the fucking story. But to say he was great for a short period of time, when he won the belt at 19 or 20 years old, he won the heavyweight boxing title, which is a sport that had been going on for over 100 years. To compare him winning the heavyweight championship to Ronda Rousey in female UFC, which is developed, last September, is a joke. It's a joke. And this is nothing against Ronda Rousey. It's nothing against the UFC. The sport itself is literally in its infancy stage. UFC for the sport as a whole with men is barely reaching puberty. This is a new sport. Okay? And then if you don't sit there with balloons, streamers, bells, whistles, and a fucking, shooting glitter out of your ass, you're a sexist because you don't sit there and be like, this is the greatest thing ever. It isn't the greatest thing ever. In 15 years, Joe Rogan and Ronda Rousey will be calling very competitive UFC fights with women. And Ronda Rousey will be saying over and over, I wish I got to fight with this much competition. Does that mean she didn't break the barrier? Does that mean she's not an important athlete? No, I'm not even going to say that anymore. This fucking This fucking political, socially political, correct climate that we are living in is a fucking joke. If you don't sit there and bow down to Caitlyn Jenner's egotistical, narcissistical fucking plight and her every move, you're a transphobe. If you don't think that Ronda Rousey and what she's doing is the greatest thing in women's sports, you're a fucking sexist. Kiss my fucking ass. Kiss it 2 times. Some of the great tweets that I got. I quote some of these people on Twitter. They're brilliant. Somebody said to me, you should be mad that you paid $60 to watch 2 135-pound girls fight, Mike. You could see that for free at the McDonald's on West 4th Street every weekend night. That's correct. And it won't be fucking 34 seconds. Those girls on West 4th Street, they put it in. They'll be going for fucking 6, 7, 8 minutes. And at a certain point, they'll probably be in the street with a pair of jeans on, bras ripped off, with the titties out. That's a fucking fight. I kid. You have to say you kid because then you offend everybody. And now they're talking about Ronda Rousey fighting Miesha Tate again. Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate 3. Ronda Rousey submitted her the first time with a fucking armbar in the first round. The second time, she submitted her with an armbar in the 3rd round. Miesha Tate should not be fighting Ronda Rousey ever again. There's no rubber match. A rubber match is for when, one person won one fight and the other person won the other fight. Not when one person went 3 rounds and then almost got their fucking arm broken again. You got it? That's not a fucking fight. That's not a rubber match. That's not something that should be headlining. That's not something that should be on pay-per-view. If she fights Miesha Tate again, put it up for free. Let people watch it for free, okay? Danny Garcia is 30-0. He beat Paulie Malignaggi last night, too. The same night Ronda Rousey. People are like, who gives a shit about Danny Garcia? No, I care about boxing. He's 30-0. Ronda Rousey is now 12-0. Do you get the point? 12-0. She's had 6 UFC fights. 6. Ronda Rousey has had a total of 6 UFC fights. Her first UFC fight was in 2013. That's fucking 3 months and 2 years ago. It's a joke to sit there and say she's the most dominant female athlete of all time. And then to say that Serena Williams is 33 or 34 years old. She's been dominating tennis for almost 15 years. That's a fucking dominant athlete. Not a fucking talking about a woman who's had 6 fights in 2 years, say she's the most dominant female athlete of all time. Wigga, please. Again, this is not about Ronda Rousey and hating on Ronda Rousey. It's the sport itself. Shit is underdeveloped. And again, if Ronda Rousey said, I'm going to retire, we wouldn't be talking about MMA with girls, maybe not ever again. And here's another thing that's great about her story, and it's fantastic. Ronda Rousey fits the perfect storm. She's cute. She's blonde-headed. She articulates herself well. She has charisma. She has a great story. She's white. She's white. And she's white. This is the perfect storm to call this the greatest athlete of all time. Ronda Rousey, who is beautiful, it's not like she's built like a supermodel. She's a little husky. Now people are going to be like, whoa, stay with me. She's a little husky. She's an athlete. She's supposed to be. She's muscular. She's supposed to be. She's a fucking fighter. I haven't seen or heard one criticism of her body image. Serena Williams dominates tennis. She wins the US Open. And Twitter and social media bashing her. She's like a man. She plays like a man. She makes noises like a man. Look at her muscles. Look at her body. The only reason why she's winning is because she's so strong. Ronda Rousey's the greatest athlete of all time, and the only reason why Serena Williams is winning is because she's so strong. Ronda Rousey is so beautiful. I haven't seen anything, and I scoured I haven't seen anything about her body image, and she's too muscular, she's too strong, da-da-da-da-da. Serena Williams wins the Wimbledon. Twitter, the stuff that was on social media attacking her racially and about her body, which is fucking beautiful if you ask me. The legs, the arms, the booty, I love it. They're attacking it and demeaning her skills. You can't compare the fucking two. You cannot compare the two as who's dominant in the sport. It's a no comparison. Ronda Rousey's been fighting professionally in the UFC, the trademark MMA fighting organization, for 2 years. Serena Williams has been kicking ass in tennis for 15 years. Let's say 15 years. You're going to talk about the most dominant athlete. Get the fuck out of here. You're talking about a sport, women's MMA. There's no divisions. The weight class, I guarantee you there's not even 50, I'm not fact checking, but I'd bet there's not even 50 professional UFC women's fighters. Maybe I'm wrong. They probably have a bunch in the stable, okay? But there's not even various weight divisions. We're talking about a sport it's like miniature golf. If that became a professional sport, it'd be like, what, that's a sport? Or lacrosse, well, that's a sport? And in the great words of my co-host, G. Monetti, G. Moody, who refused to be on this emergency podcast with me, he said, you want to do an emergency podcast about Ronda Rousey and women's UFC? Who watches that shit? Unquote. In the immortal words of my co-host. I do. I watch it. I like her story. But I'm not going to sit here and again, and Joe Rogan is now inviting me on his podcast. I'm a big fan of his. Big fan of his. But he talked about being so excited and overwhelmed to be talking to Ronda Rousey during her fight in Brazil the other night. For what? You knew she was going to beat the girl up in 30 seconds. I don't get it. He's seen every UFC fight, and that was the most exciting it's ever been? What the fuck? And the UFC, the sport of UFC, the sport of MMA, they're going to be like, you dumb fuck, you're calling UFC a sport. MMA, mixed martial arts, the fighting itself. There's only two right now, and they're young, and their careers are young. There are only two so-called best ever, and I don't even know if Chris Weidman is considered best ever yet. But there's only one undefeated man in MMA who's considered the best ever, John Jones. And he had one defeat because he was disqualified for beating the shit out of the guy too much. That doesn't count. John Jones is undefeated. The reason why there are no other best ever, quote unquote, best ever, best of all time men in UFC that are undefeated is because the sport itself doesn't lend itself to being undefeated. On any given night, anybody could lose like that. Armbar. I'm not even a UFC, I don't know everything about the UFC, but I am a fan. I've been following the sport probably for the last 13, 14 years pretty regularly. I've been to fights. I fucking pay for the pay-per-views. Some I like, some I don't like. The violence sometimes tweaks me out. Just like boxing. Not every fucking, fight is great. Is it more exciting than boxing on a regular? Yes. Yes, unfortunately, it is, and it's not about and it's not about comparing. They're two different sports. It's like watching golf and basketball, boxing and MMA. They're two different sports. I'm a fan of boxing. I could be a fan of both. People are so dumb. You like boxing? It sucks. Yeah, I like boxing. I also like to watch tennis. I don't like to watch baseball, but I love watching football. It's my fucking opinion. This whole thing, Ronda Rousey would kick Floyd Mayweather's ass. Stupid. Ronda Rousey would kick most of the men's ass in UFC. Oh, God. And you know what I'm going to tell Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan, who apparently can kick some fucking ass. He's black belt in this, black belt in that. I don't want any problems with him, but he's never had a fight. But he trains, he kicks ass, and organized ass kicking. I guarantee you, now this is never going to happen. And they're like, this is sexist. I didn't bring this up. People are saying Ronda Rousey would beat Floyd Mayweather. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, man. If she got a hold of him, she'd flip him over. If she traded punches like she did with that Brazilian broad last night, it would be over just as fast as it was. But in Floyd Mayweather, this is a stupid conversation. Men fighting women, women fighting men. I don't even but Joe Rogan, I'd bet my fucking life savings that Joe Rogan can kick the shit out of Ronda Rousey in organized MMA fighting if they sparred. I guarantee it. And Joe Rogan's not even a professional fighter, and I'm going to tell him that. He's going to be like, what are you talking about? She's the greatest fighter of all time. I'm pretty sure that Joe Rogan's, I didn't hear it, but I saw on Twitter that Joe Rogan compared Ronda Rousey to Muhammad Ali. Joe Rogan, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? First of all, Muhammad Ali lost fights. Muhammad Ali was in wars. Wars in the ring. Not just one, many wars. Many. And he figured out a way to win. Does that mean that Ronda Rousey still isn't great because she wasn't in wars? No, it means that the competition itself is not up to par. It's not developed. You got it? Fuck. You got it? Is everybody getting my fucking point that's listening to this shit? Okay, my co-host refused to do this emergency podcast with me because he said, I don't even fucking know who Ronda Rousey is. I don't even watch UFC women's fighting. I wouldn't pay my money. Okay, that's his fault. I'm a fan. I don't know, that's it. You got it? So I want all the little fucking, the little political correct fuckers, all you little hipsters, all you like, the political correctness. It's like, you guys, I'm going to talk about the men first. All you men out there that'll be like, I'm a feminist. I'm a sexist. I mean, you're a sexist, Mike. I'm a feminist. I'm this. I'm that. You're this. You're not getting any more pussy for saying you're a feminist. You're not getting any more pussy, guys, for calling me a sexist. You're not appeasing any girls out there. I feel like a lot of these men that are taking this stance of, I'm trans everything. I support everything. I don't have a that. It's not going to get you any ass. All right, when you're in a bar or nightclub, wherever you crawl around trying to pick up women, that shit doesn't work, okay? That shit might work when you're laying on the couch with your girl laid up in your little blanket watching Mad Men or motherfucking Naked and Afraid or whatever the fuck you watch. That shit doesn't work with me, all right? Some of you say, you're sick. Why are you saying that? You're a hater. I'm not a fucking hater. I'm telling you what it is. If I spent $64 or $59 or whatever the fuck I spent on a Mike Tyson fight or a bad Floyd Mayweather fight or a bad whatever fight and waited till 1:30 in the morning and ate my ice cream at 1:30 in the morning expecting to see some action, of course I'm going to be upset. Just like if I went to a hotel room and it didn't live up to the standards that was hyped up to on the internet and the commercials, I'm going to be upset. The hotel room's a shitbox. Or if I go to Zipcar or a rent-a-car and I get in the fucking Zipcar or the rent-a-car or the fucking Uber and it's not clean and it smells like a shitbox, I'm going to complain. You get it? Does that make me a hater or does that make me a fucking consumer who wants his money's worth? You got it? You fucking understand? Does that make sense? Does that serve all the political correct police? Does that serve all the people who are sitting there saying, Ronda Rousey? When Ronda Rousey retires, no one will be talking about women's MMA. This is the I Am Rapaport podcast. I win, you lose. It's a worldwide phenomenon, and I love you all. All right, baseball is in full swing, and you could be part of the action all season long at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments, just instant cash and instant gratification. You want to win some money from your cousin, your nephew? You go to DraftKings.com, your best friends. It's so much fun. Me and G Moody, we're not even big baseball fans. I've said it before, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I like to bet. I like to bet responsibly. I don't go nuts, but when I'm feeling good, I'll put some money down, and sometimes I win, sometimes you lose. All right, that's part of gambling. Don't go crazy, like I said. Just pick 2 pitchers, pick 8 position players, and pick up your cash. That's it. New contestants start daily. So hurry to DraftKings.com right now and use promo code Rapaport, R-A-P-A-P-O-R-T, to play for free in today's $10,000 fantasy baseball contest. You can win $10,000 today at DraftKings.com in their fantasy. It's every single day there's baseball. You know how many baseball games there are in a season? Enter Rapaport, R-A-P-A-P-O-R-T, for free entry now at DraftKings.com.